a golden white chocolate chip peanut butter Oreo.
A golden.
I can't. No, just again. Actually, I thought you were gonna say the M&Ms. I know you're all about those M&M
Actually, no.
cookies.
Truthfully, Reese's. I like Reese's. You don't
Oh.
see that. Like you don't see Reese's Pieces much anymore. I love Reese's Pieces. You just don't see them much anymore. I don't know what happened. They used to be so popular when I was a kid.
Oh,
Cups or bust. Down
I
with
don't know.
Reese's
The
Pieces.
cups are great. Don't get me wrong.
the classics.
But I prefer the Pieces. They're easier. That's why just less work.
I really love the. I was thinking I always used to go with oatmeal, but I had to think that was like my childhood. Like
Oatmeal raisin.
Oatmeal raisin. Yes, I acquired the taste for raisins. I didn't like them before, but oatmeal raisin, but like the kind that's like a gooey one. That would be like childhood. Michael would be so freaking
not
like,
the crispy, but the chewy.
not the crispy. Please no, the soft, like chewy, like yeah. But those shortbread cookies that have like that, like somebody dipped a knuckle in it and put like jelly.
Oh damn!
That is my fucking shit. Love that. Love that. Raspberry jam or strawberry jam.
And that's how you like to live your life.
Nice choices. Nice choices. For me, honestly, I mean, I gotta just keep it simple. It's got to be the white chocolate chip macadamia nut cookies.
Oh, where? Okay, what
one
quality?
Time,
You said.
so one time, I had someone make me white chocolate chip cookies without the macadamia nuts. That was a happy day in my life. Do you know who did it for me?
Anna.
Mm-hmm.
We knew.
There's only one perpetrator it could have been.
Yeah.
Oh man! Wow, you may never have that again. So I hope you're grateful for that.
It was a forbidden pleasure.
Hope you're proud of yourself.
I want you all to know I did what I had to do, and I loved every second of it. You know, honestly, those white chocolate chips were friggin' awesome, is what they were. I'll tell you that much.
That's where the connection comes from. It's the white chocolate.
See, I always thought it was just the fact that we shared the same name and made sure that it was spelled correctly.
No, of course not that. Who would think that?
Certainly not.
I was gonna say, what is this? People spelling it with a K? The hell is that? I can't have that.
KK. Now it's getting into dangerous territory there.
Yeah, exactly. Flirting with it. Now they're like, yeah, I'm going to push it to the edge.
Are we mobbing it?
Let's mob it.
How you doing, everybody? Welcome to Aflixionados podcast, episode 53. Damn, is that right? 53? Hold on, let me check.
Shit.
Okay, yeah. Just want to make sure I'm not losing my mind. We're available wherever you get your podcast. New episodes dropping on the first Saturday of each month, 5 a.m. Pacific. Like us if you can. Subscribe if you want. Survive if I let you. Do you know where I got that?
I just love it.
It's a wrestling reference.
Oh my God, yes. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it hit me. It took me a second. It hit me.
All of our social accounts, including Blue Sky, are conveniently bundled together for you in our link tree. My name is Eric, and the other voices occupying your head this time are a man of many trades, philosopher, charmer, future librarian, fancy mattress owner, my good friend, former colleague, and co-host, Michael.
Hola.
And also joining us for the very first time, our longtime friend, boss/former boss. I don't know how to refer to you in this moment. Car, video game, and money connoisseur. Please welcome our special guest, also named Eric.
Hello. Yeah, I've never been called a money connoisseur before, so that is a new one for me. But I'll take it. Thank you.
Yeah, you
Happy
will.
to be here.
If it's free, you'll take it.
Yes. This is proof that I will do almost anything for money. Thank you.
Oh, wait, there's money involved in this?
Oh, was that one of your concerns?
Here on Aflixionados podcast, we mainly talk about films that range from mind-numbing to mind-blowing. We also cover TV shows and other forms of media. As always, we will be getting into spoilers here, and there will be only the healthiest amount of expletives tossed in. You have been warned. If you ain't ready, then get ready, because in this episode, we will be discussing a 3-hour-long epic crime drama, Casino, released in 1995, directed by Martin Scorsese.
A 3-hour tour.
Yeah, nearly 3-hour movie indeed. 30th anniversary this year, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's
Crazy as
right.
that
I
sounds.
knew it.
Yeah,
Crazy.
released in
Crazy.
November of '95. Often, it's always compared to Goodfellas. But before we get into all that, I think let's run down the movie. I
Yeah,
actually have
yeah.
it playing right in front of me as we do this because I always like to have reference in front of me.
Definitely. So, I mean, I guess I'll preface by saying that, Eric, welcome aboard to the podcast. We're excited to have you here, and it's been a long time coming. I mean, we've been planning this thing for months and months.
It's true.
And fun fact, Eric just got back from Vegas.
This is technically true. Yes, yeah, it's interesting watching this movie after coming back from Vegas for a lot of reasons.
So it's just apropos. It's good timing right now.
Hmm. A lot of holes in the desert. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to do it right. Otherwise, you got to dig a bunch of holes.
That's right.
Yeah, that's reference in the movie. So
Just dig one giant one.
when the movie, yeah, big old one. When the movie starts, it's interesting. It kicks off like kind of almost like it's basically like a flashback. You can see where Robert De Niro's character is replaced by a doll.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
didn't do
can
like a
see
slow
it.
mo of it.
Yeah.
Trust me. If you watch, especially like on either high-end 4K digital, Blu-ray, whatever, you will notice it. Like it is so obvious.
That is funny.
Yeah,
You know what I thought was pretty funny too? I didn't realize that they had worked so many times together, but this is Scorsese and De Niro's 8th film together.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
Holy shit.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe their first collaboration was Mean Streets, I think, in the 70s,
I think
1973.
that's correct. Yeah, I think that's correct.
I'm not
too.
mistaken. No. Yeah, no, they worked on so many legendary movies. I mean, for God's sake, we had Taxi Driver, Raging Bull. One not mentioned as much, believe, was King of Comedy in the 80s. Kind of a dark comedy. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. And then, of course, the one that this movie Casino is compared to the most is Goodfellas.
Exactly.
By and far.
But you guys were,
by and large, it is compared the most to Goodfellas.
and you guys were saying that you like this one better than Goodfellas. It's like a better version.
Yes. Yeah.
My personal opinion for sure.
Same. It's different. It's different. The thing is, if you go back and look at contemporary reviews from 1995, everybody's like, "Oh, well, this is as good as Goodfellas." Really, Goodfellas was better. That's really the number one comment you'll hear. In retrospect, if you hear people talk about it more now, like 30 years later, I should say, the feeling is Casino was just what was better, was more well done. There's more mature themes. And it was really Scorsese's better work of the two movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it does come down to a certain taste, and I think that people, as we all do, will have our own little maybe childhood, younger memories, associations with a particular movie that will have an affinity for it. But I personally, I just think I didn't see Casino till I was in my 20s or whatever. I didn't see it when it first came out, but it was impressive. I that one stuck out to me. It wasn't just there were certain violent parts. In fact, I was getting certain things confused with Goodfellas. I thought that there's a real graphic stabbing scene in the movie, and I attributed that one to Goodfellas. And I remember watching it going, where the hell is that really violent scene that I signed up for that thing? It's like watching
toward the end. Yeah,
right.
That's one of the most gruesome. Interestingly, I believe this is the movie. I don't know if it's been broken, but this is the movie that broke the record for most F words. It used to be Goodfellas.
Wow.
And
That's impressive.
Basically supplanted that. Casino did.
Do you actually know how many F words are dropped in this movie?
I'm sure somebody did. I could look up the count. I'm sure I could find it.
Good couple hundred.
I gotta believe that I'm not the only one who's asked such a question. I'm sure I'm not the only one. We'll look it up.
The funny thing would be is if Joe Pesci wasn't even instructed to say the F word, but he just kept throwing it in there. He's like, I can't stop it. It just keeps coming out.
How many is that now? Oh yeah.
I heard that he actually had to consciously restrain himself when he was filming Home Alone, because obviously you can't drop F-bombs in that movie.
Well, basically when you hear him in Home Alone going,
yeah,
that's him saying the F-bombs.
He said he would speak gibberish as to not accidentally cuss.
Exactly. How coincidental? It was the same year he did Goodfellas was Home Alone in 1990.
Wow. Right.
95 now with
such
Casino,
a different film.
Another film that De Niro did. We won't get into it in this one. Is Heat. was also 1995,
Oh, dang, that's
which is
right. I
another
have that in
great
my
movie. I mean,
collection.
I don't want
Hmm.
to get too much of that. We'll get sidetracked.
Dude, De Niro was on
Wow.
a roll that
In
year.
the 90s? Oh
Wow.
yeah, he did a lot of great movies in the 90s.
Insane.
My introduction to him, unfortunately, was Meet the Parents, and I was like, really, this is the guy that everyone keeps talking about? I'm not seeing it.
Oh, Meet the Parents is
Oh,
funny though.
right, right. That is,
I
It
mean,
was
it's not
okay,
like a great
but
showcase of him, but it is a funny movie.
yeah.
Think about it.
yeah, yeah.
What's interesting, so back to Casino, what's interesting with Casino is, again, you got Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci playing the roles. Again, Joe Pesci playing kind of that crazy mobster. Again, only difference in this one is, unlike in Goodfellas, where he wasn't a made guy, wasn't, part of a family, I guess let's call it.
Mm.
In this one, he is.
So I was kind of confused about that. So is he actually considered part of the family, or is he just like a
Yeah.
trusted enforcer?
No, no, no. Joe Pesci's character of
Nikki?
Nicky, thank you. I can't believe it. Nicky Santoro. No, he's a made guy. He is part of
Yeah,
the family.
yeah. I took that note down.
He can mess with other crews and they can't do much to him,
Okay,
because
he's
to
protected.
kill, as we saw in Goodfellas, to kill a made guy, you have to get permission from the other families, from a boss. If you don't, they'll kill you.
I mean, to be fair, he wasn't really getting permission for much of anything.
Well, toward the end, but no, no, no. He doesn't need to get permission if they want to kill him. So they need to get permission. He doesn't need to get permission
Oh,
for much.
oh
All
yeah,
I'm
no,
saying is, if someone wants to kill me, they need my permission first.
that sound just no, denied. You do not get to kill me.
And also really quick, which I didn't know, this was adapted from the Nicholas Pileggi nonfiction book Casino, Love and Honor in Las Vegas. So I
Mhm.
haven't read it, but I thought it was pretty cool that it was based off of that.
Oh, it is. No, and actually, interesting you mentioned that. Adapted from a true story. That's another big difference between Goodfellas and Casino. That Goodfellas, when you watch it, it says based on a true story. The names of the characters are their real names for the most part. Henry Hill, you look up Henry Hill, that is a real person. Sam Ace Rothstein, Nicky Santoro, those are not real people. They're
Based
based
off
on
of them,
other people.
loosely based.
Hence that's the adapted part. They adapted it with names, or they combine certain things. Like the real name of that character, Sam Ace Rothstein, in real life, Frank Rosenthal, Frank Lefty. They called him Lefty Rosenthal.
Mhm.
That was his real life name. And then Nicky Santoro was based on, I believe it was Spilatro, was the last name. Basically, that was the guy, the mobster it was based on.
Right, right.
And there's so many others where the names were changed. Like, for example, Ginger, in real life, her name was based on the character of the person Jerry McGee. That was
Mm.
Rosenthal's wife. That was the adaptation. They changed a lot of names, and part of it was, at the time, I guess they couldn't verify certain facts, so that was kind of the way legal said, "Look, to do this, you need to adapt it," because they were trying to avoid legal issues. That was really the whole thing.
They didn't take like the actual people and put them in the movie, but they kind of adopted the same relationships
The
and then
spirit.
just
It's the spirit of it. Yeah,
exactly.
they haven't been the exact names, but they're basically those people.
Sam Ace Rothstein. I was a little confused at first because I thought his name was actually Ace. When I was watching it, the captions were just listing him as Ace. But yeah, Sam Ace Rothstein, played by Robert De Niro. How does he become someone that is trusted to even run the Tangiers casino? Like, who is he and what does he do?
So they kind of talk about it in the movie, kind of after the opening scene where they talk about, where they show kind of him running the casino, and they talk about a little bit of the backstory and introduce some of the main characters. That was referred to back home years ago, because they can't say the Chicago outfit, legal reasons.
Bro, there was a lot of exposition at the beginning.
Yeah.
The whole thing they talk about is that basically he was an excellent gambler. That was the whole thing. He picked winners left and right. He knew how to do it. He
Good
gambled.
instincts.
To quote the movie, basically, where he says he gambled like a fucking brain surgeon.
Yeah.
Right.
He wasn't enjoying
was
it, but he did
meticulous.
scientifically. He like he figured out, the bounce of a ball. He figured out who's involved with what, and figured out all that stuff.
Right, the hardwood court. He was talking about who broke up with their girlfriend on the team.
Damn, because that all has an effect.
So,
okay.
How he got offered it was the fact that and that's the nickname Ace, because he was a great gambler. That's where they really came up with that whole thing.
So then my question is, and he introduces himself as a sports handicapper. I remember I took that note down. I was like, handicapper, that's an interesting term, and then he goes on later on and talks about being a bookie. And so I was curious about sort of the etymology behind that word. Why would you choose handicapper? I don't understand the correlation. If he's a good gambler, what is he doing as a good gambler? He knows what.
I
I
gotta
don't know.
believe it's. I gotta believe, and we could look it up. I don't know if you guys have it up yet, but if you
No,
can
not
look it
yet,
up. But
actually.
basically, let's look it up. Let's find out. According to the internet, um, in sports betting, a handicapper is someone who studies and analyzes sporting events to find an edge when placing bets on games. That's what he did.
So he's putting a handicap on his score because, like, in other words, he's taking a handicap. He's tilting in his favor because he's everyone else
Well,
is
no,
playing.
essentially, basically, it's the practice of assigning advantage. Basically, it's that he could change the odds of a game, of a bet.
Oh, that's what he meant on
They
his.
mentioned that. He mentions that he could
Wow.
change the odds just on his own bet because
See.
he's so good at it.
Oh,
After a while,
wow.
because he became so well known, right? So
Yeah,
like
I
as
didn't make
soon
that
as he
connection.
betted on something, everyone else is like, "Oh shoot, that must be a safe bet. I'll join in."
Precisely. That's why I didn't make that connection. I was like, I was still so lost on handicapper, but I didn't want to get stuck and be like, I'll never finish this movie if
Mm.
I.
Yeah, and I think it's implied, and I think the connection there it's implied because the implication is that Sam and Ace and Nikki knew each other when they were kids, or at least when they were
Mhm.
young. That's the implication. So that's the connection there.
Yeah, they mentioned it a couple times, like, "Oh, you're longtime friends" and stuff
Yeah,
like
like
that.
since almost kids. They were practically kids when they met. So
Right, right.
Nikki got into that
Yeah.
world. Of course, he brought him along because he saw how good of a bettor. And again, it basically explains how he got to that world to begin with.
So what I also found interesting about just like the intro part, also what I like about it is it's being narrated by both of the characters, Nikki and Sam, but
Among
and
others.
they're kind of trading off because they're kind of like narrating from their perspectives, their own unique perspectives. When they're kind of doing all this exposition, they're also mentioning that one of the big things is that the outfit they skim a lot of the money. So they brought Sam in to kind of run the Tangiers casino. He does a great job and he starts making way more cash through this casino. And so basically what they do is they skim the extra cash off the top and make it seem like, oh, it's just making the same amount of money, but they're just pocketing it for themselves.
Mhm.
So they're stealing from their own casino, which I thought was kind of hilarious.
Exactly. It's interesting. You see that beginning scene where he goes into where the mobster goes into the casino to go pick up in the count room that even Sam says, I'm not even allowed in there. They both say we're not allowed in there. He goes
Mm,
in there and he goes, it's interesting. Nobody sees anything in that room. All these guys looking, but nobody sees anything.
true.
And all he does, he just grabs the money, puts it in the suitcase, packs it, and goes. And why would they want to see anything? They say it in the movie because the
Hmm.
profit's so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
No, seriously. Everyone's kind of like they're keeping their head low so that way they don't raise any red flags. So everyone's just kind of doing the same thing, like I'll pocket like 100 here and there, and then this guy is walking in with the briefcase and he just like dumps a bunch of money and walks out and no one knows who the fuck he is. Everyone's just kind of like doing the same shit, but no one's asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the Tangiers is loosely based off of, I guess, a few casinos, but one of them, the main one I think it's based off of, is the Stardust Resort and Casino, which
Yep.
had opened in 1958 and was later demolished in 2007 and was eventually, after like a bunch of like development plans and whatever, it was succeeded by the Resorts World Las Vegas in 2021.
Yep. Yeah. It's interesting. This is you see a Las Vegas that is very, very different from the Las Vegas we know today. This is the pre the mega resort era that is today. Today, I mean, Vegas is a mega resort town. I mean, Jesus Christ. You go into one of those hotels and it's a hotel, it's a mall, it's a shopping center, it's a casino, it's a restaurant, it's so many
You have
things.
to have it all.
That's how they all are, and granted, some more luxurious than others. Um, but ultimately, that's what it is. They're basically cities unto themselves in a way. So it's interesting how it's changed from then till now. The irony is that they talk about how, oh, well, the mafia was so bad, blah blah blah. Today it's just corporations, just mafia with a different name.
Precisely, precisely. I think it's interesting in this context to see this movie as a glimpse behind the curtain into a world that we were not aware of, that or our parents at this point were not aware of was going on, to a place that we would go to now and think, everything is so corporately run, everything is nice and neat and prim and proper, where it was more of the Wild West out there at a certain point. And this is
Right.
exactly what that looked like. And you get a feel for the clientele at the time. as well as, more importantly, the people behind the scenes. Kind of like I was gonna say a la Mad Men. You got a glimpse into the white collar world of 1960s era.
How
Yeah,
dapper it
19,
was.
well, really 70s in this case. It's more 70s, but yeah, the 60s were
This
quite
right.
similar. They were quite similar. It
Exactly.
was kind of the same. It was
Exactly.
the pre-corporation era in that
Oh,
regard.
but I'm only saying, yeah, that it's just similar in that you're getting a glimpse into a
Oh,
world that you would not have been able to peek into like that. It's kind of crazy. You're like, oh, this is who was running the show when I was there and at the Stardust and all that. It's kind of crazy.
it was such a different time. It's interesting what a con job the whole thing is. That was talking about the house always wins, which is a well-known casino rule.
The
It just
longer you
is.
play, yeah,
They're going
the
to get
better
it
their
all
odds
wrong.
are. Yep.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Kind of I would say probably the first 30 minutes or so, it just establishes the casino, establishes the world that it is, all the characters around it.
We first see Sam, but it's like we're also introduced to Nicky Santoro, played by Joe Pesci, of course.
Yep.
And his role is basically like he's told by the bosses, the Midwestern outfit or whatever, they're sending Nicky to protect Sam, protect the cash skim, and protect the casino. What I really like about these two main characters is that they're like polar opposites of each other, and yet they work really well together because they kind of cover all bases.
I'd
Yeah,
agree with
it's
that.
really rich.
It's interesting. It's absolutely interesting. You have the two polar opposites. Uh, I guess Sam is more business minded, and he's willing to kind of. I mean, he's ruthless. Don't get me wrong. He's very, very, very ruthless. But he is also willing to put that aside for business. He's willing to do what it takes to keep the business running. Whereas Nikki's just, well, they establish it in that scene in the bar where he basically where Sam asks, "Hey, is this your pen?" to the other guy. Why don't you take that fucking pen and shove it? And Nikki just starts stabbing him with the pen, and that's where you establish that he is crazy. He goes,
Holy
it's
shit!
like,
You don't want to mess with this guy.
yeah, you don't mess
Yeah.
with him. And it's like you hear a little girl crying there, Sam. You hear him crying,
No remorse for that
and
guy.
you hear kind of in the background going,
Yeah.
you hear that, but the point is, he'll just fight. He doesn't care.
He's not afraid of anyone, and that's why
No, he's
he makes
not.
a perfect enforcer. Like, and he's kind of unassuming too, because he's like a little bit shorter. He's like more heavy set, but man, this guy will fuck people up.
Yeah, which in real life, the guy I believe was that way. He was kind of short and kind of like when you see Joe Pesci kind of walking kind of stout. They say that is how the guy actually walked in real life.
Oh wow,
Kind of
okay.
stout to make himself appear bigger. That was the whole idea. But yeah, no, nobody messed with him. They knew
No,
because he was nuts, and they knew that.
and he gets worse later on, like way
Oh
worse.
wait, we're not even at that back. He gets way worse toward the end. No, in the initial, he's just kind of crazy, but still somewhat on the rails. He goes completely off the rails later on.
Like you want him as your friend. You don't want to be on the receiving end of that.
Yeah,
As we
it's
find
like-
out
You see
later.
De Niro, when you see that happen, you see De Niro's reaction, and he's just he's a little horrified by it, but he's
it
like
needed to be done.
it needed to be done, and he's letting it happen. He's just like, okay, but you just can see.
I'm really glad, that I'm not on the receiving end.
Exactly. Oh yeah, absolutely. He goes in and he's there to quote the movie to protect the golden Jew, and that's the way the movie describes it. That is the way he describes it in the movie. Basically, yeah, because he's the cash cow, and they know this.
Now, can you guys explain, like, what is the relationship between Ginger McKenna, played by Sharon Stone, and Sam? Because I feel like this is really complex, and I'm not even really sure what he saw in her or what she saw in him, but they somehow end up together.
The implication is that I guess he thinks he can tame her with money or something, like he can buy her love or something.
Right. He believed he could change her. He said that. Yeah.
He basically said as much, and he's completely misguided in that regard.
Like, save her from that kind of world and, like, hey, I'll take care of you type of thing.
I don't know if it's about saving her as much as it is satiating himself.
That's what I was gonna say.
Truthfully.
Yeah, it really
Yeah,
is about patting his ego, because he says even in the movie at one point later on how she was he loved watching her. He loved nothing more than watching her work a room, seeing all the people's faces light up, how she could light them up, and the implication, of course, is that he possesses her in some sense. He already showed her all the money. He made her give him a kid, and so yeah, they're connected. So he's like, oh yeah, look at her. I own her.
Well, that's what I thought was kind of ironic was he loved the fact that she was able to basically just control the room and control everyone's attention, right? They're just like laser focused on her. You know, she was manipulating everyone, but was there any chance that she was manipulating Sam into wanting to do that for her?
Uh, I don't know if I don't think she needed to. He wanted to.
Yeah, I think she knew a good thing when she saw it, and then he presents her with this offer, and just against her, better judgment, she still goes along with it, and but yeah, it just seemed he thought he could get her to love him, despite
Yeah.
her not really loving him, and he thought that would change over time. He even said to her, "I think that this will change over time, that you could grow to love someone." It's like he's not hearing her. He's so good at seeing little minute details in other people, and they even mentioned that at the beginning when they introduce her character, that it's just a surprise that he didn't see it, or he's talking about how he just didn't see it. And I was surprised, as good as I was with money, I wasn't really good with relationships. And
I felt like he genuinely loved her, and he was kind of looking to speed things up by throwing cash at it. Like, like, oh, you'll eventually love me because I have so much cash.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. I mean, look, I think he thought he could buy her love.
Mhm.
She saw a cash cow. Let's be honest here.
And he wasn't hiding that.
No, they
He was,
mention
No, no,
it. They're
no.
just like, I know how this looks, but I don't give a fuck.
No, no, they both went into it. That was one of those. They kind of both went into it, but he lied to himself in a way, thinking, "Oh, I can change this." No, you can't.
This would be all right. Yeah.
Although I
no.
will say one thing, what kind of theme you notice in the movie, it tries to make him look like a really good guy. He wasn't really that good of a guy, to be clear. He
Mhm.
was as much of a jerk as all of them.
That's just them Hollywoodizing it.
Yeah, a little
So,
bit.
sort of. It still feels, yeah. It's a little glamorized, but it doesn't. I don't know if he is the protagonist, so we're following him. But he's not a great guy. He's an unsavory. He's an anti-hero.
If you think about it, Casino, and I saw somebody have this take, and it's interesting. They said, and even actually Scorsese said this. He said, Casino's interesting. It doesn't really have a story if you think about it. It doesn't have a main plot. It's just events happening around the
Yeah.
1970s about how the casinos ran in the 70s, and people happen to be in it. Like it has a lot of story elements, but it has no real plot
It's just kind of a
Right.
dysfunctional relationship
and a half.
that we're following. Yeah.
But it's like,
Because right, they give equal weight to all these different aspects of the movie, and they don't hide. And Scorsese doesn't hide that either. He presents you with all these different voiceovers, all these different narrators, and so already you know that this story is divided
oh
quite.
yeah, no critique. It's a great story, an absolutely great story. No, I'm not criticizing. I think it's awesome. Whereas Goodfellas was more of a personal story. It was Henry Hill's story ultimately. This is about really the stories around the casinos in the 70s in Vegas and how they ran, which is it's just fascinating to watch that world reveal itself. Um,
Right.
a side point about Ginger, so we talk about her relationship with Ace. We don't, with the part we haven't touched on is her relationship with Lester Diamond, played by James
Mm.
Woods.
Who she knew first, and like Sam knew all about this Lester character.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Which, if you listen to the movie, he says, "Oh, I don't get it. She has everything together, but she can't. For some reason, she still goes to this guy. This guy who's
Yeah.
a
Hmm.
loser and blah 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 blah
Hmm.
blah." Now, one thing I will mention in real life, the person that's based on, she actually had a kid with him before she even met Sam. To be clear, it's not shown in the movie because the movie it just
Wow.
seems like, what is she dumb for going to this guy?
Well, it was also kind of portraying her as kind of a terrible parent too. So I don't know if she even genuinely cared about her kid in the movie. So I don't know if the real life person would have like cared or been like an active parent.
Yeah, I don't know. That one's always kind of that. I'm not gonna say it's glossed over, but it's not really talked about. The real life Sam Rosenthal. He basically he never really talked about it. He didn't. He said, "I don't want to talk about it. I want to. It's a bad time in my life. I don't want to talk about it." So it's never really been truly addressed. He's dead now. Died of natural causes, to be clear, not in the movie. He
Mm.
died of natural causes way after the movie was made and released, and blah 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 blah.
Sam invests a lot in the relationship as well because it's like, yeah, they have the daughter. I think they had the daughter before they got married,
They did.
is what they said.
Yes. Yeah.
They
And
Yeah.
then
did.
he gives her like 2 million in cash and like a shit ton of jewelry
Hmm.
just to
Yep,
have.
that's right.
He kept kind of hinting like just in case something happens to me, I need quick cash to like get me out of any tricky spots. But like I thought they were gonna actually do something with that, but it was more or less just like her fighting with him over it.
What they do with it is that he gives her that account that only she has access to. That's the whole thing on that one.
Right.
Hmm.
But that's kind of it. It kind of in the end, it kind of comes around a little bit, but it kind of peters out.
He likes knowing that like she is dependent on him and she keeps wanting that 2 million. He can control her in that regard, right? But
Hmm.
like that's why he doesn't give her the jewelry or anything like that. And that's all she wants to do is like she wants to end the relationship at some point, and she just wants to like withdraw the cash and take all the jewelry, but he won't let her. And so I feel like
Mhm.
that was just kind of like a plot point to just have them fight over something.
Well, the implication in his case is he wants the daughter. That's kind of the implication. Whereas she doesn't care. She just wants the money and the jewels and go. That's all she cares about. Her drugs, her money, and her jewelry. That's the implication anyway.
She almost wanted to like fall back into her old ways.
Pretty much, split, between Lester and just her own way. She liked being kind of controlling the room. It's interesting. That relationship is very interesting. It's very, very dysfunctional to say the least.
The ginger real life person had a baby with the pimp guy essentially, right?
Mhm.
But in the
Mhm.
movie she doesn't, so I feel like that makes it even more complex, is that she keeps like being drawn back to him and she wants to give
What's
him
the
cash. And
attachment? Exactly. What's the
exactly,
attachment? Especially because in the movie you see the scene where she's talking to him like so desperately. Oh, I really love you, blah blah. And you see him with another woman.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. She's calling him on her wedding day,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a
and
right after.
sneeze. I mean,
and in
he's no
tears.
good.
But she does explain how she'd been with him since she was 14,
Yep, that's what I was thinking too.
and it was at such an impressionable age, and probably her like first real love, and
She feels
he
responsible for him.
he's manipulative as well though, and so there's like this deep desire to please him.
She was basically like heavily groomed from a young age, right, into
Right,
loving
right.
Lester, and now I feel like she's permanently damaged in a way that like she doesn't have any ability to love anyone else other than him.
Yeah, she just doesn't see it,
And she's just the irony is she's so manipulative too, but not with him. She just can't do it to him. So yeah, you're right. I
Right.
think it is a brainwashing of sorts. There's some truth
Yeah.
to that. It's just an interesting, complex relationship. Well, while Sam in between all this, he's still trying to run the damn casino
Mhm.
to
Yeah,
clean that shit up.
yeah.
Like you see that scene where you got the two cheaters
Oh, they're signaling each other.
signaling each other, and
Morse
basically ends
code.
up smashing his hand when he catches him.
So this is basically what I always envision every single time people are like, yeah, you don't want to get caught by the owners or the people watching the cameras, you counting cards, because, you might be taken to the back and no one will ever find you again. You end up in one of those holes out in the desert.
Yeah,
So yeah, this
Mhm.
is basically, I mean, I thought they went pretty easy on the person.
they did because basically the implication here is that they're sending a message like, look, either you get out, not here. You
He's a
don't have to hold this
walking
shit here.
advertisement. Yeah, he's a walking advertisement this way, whereas otherwise it's just hearsay. But having the man walk around with his fucked up
Busted
hand,
hand.
they'll
Yeah.
always remember his face, that hand, and go, "Ooh, I won't do it."
No, and I love Don Rickles. That's an awful lot of money to count out here. Just out in the open.
Oh, when he walks up to him. Yeah,
But let's get him a drink. It's like what?
yeah.
That is just such a great scene.
So his character, was he basically just kind of like a facade? Like he was pretending to be the manager while Sam ran everything for real?
No, he was actually the manager because Sam trusted him. That was
Oh,
the whole thing. He was his proxy in a
Mhm.
manner of in a way. He trusted him to do certain things because he knew that Billy would be loyal. He knew Billy would be loyal to him at the end of the day. He knew
gotcha.
that.
Okay.
So that's why he trusted him so much. He was okay with him running
The
things.
day to day while Sam was on the floor, like looking for like
Yeah,
specifics.
it was like
Mhm.
head of state and
Well, he
chief.
was the director of food and beverage.
Yeah, exactly. Very important job.
They always talk about that's kind of a point that I don't think we've gotten to is they talk about the gaming license and how he needs to get a gaming license, but because he's been pinched before for being a bookie and back home, being pinched, being essentially arrested and convicted, blah blah blah. He has to apply for a gaming license. He's concerned that they won't give it to him because of this and that. And he goes, "Oh no, just keep changing your job title. You'll be fine. Change it from casino executive to director of food and beverage to whatever. And they'll put you on the bottom of the pile."
This is comical too because it really like shows you that job titles kind of don't mean shit. Like you can have the fancy ass title, but it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, look, I could be the executive vice president of blah blah blah, but if they only pay me $50,000 a year, what am I doing with my life?
Mhm.
That's the executive vice president of bullshit, is what that is. Come on. Here's a wrestling reference for you. The executive vice president of talent relations.
Hey, another ace, speaking of which.
Another ace. Oh, God.
Not long after the marriage and all that stuff and breaking certain individuals' hands, Nikki kind of, I don't know, he starts like getting a little out of hand, right? Like he starts getting a little too big for his britches.
Well, where it started with him really is because he starts trying to, on top of they're skimming the casino, right? That's the business, the business model, I should say. On top of that, he's trying to get his guys in there to do like the most, just openly bad, just let's take money in front of everyone kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're basically just doing all kinds of signaling and everything out in the open where anybody could really see it. That's where it really starts falling apart. There's even this scene where you see Sam warn Nikki saying, we got agents in here. They're watching you. They're seeing you. He goes, well, so what? I can't win a few times? Yeah, but you're always winning. You haven't not won a single hand. And he kept warning him, you're going to be banned. They're going to put you in the black book. You're going to be banned. Oh, no.
He was trying to low key like be a good guy and like watch out for his buddy or whatever, but like he couldn't technically do anything to Nikki either.
No, he couldn't because he wasn't a made guy. He wasn't he wasn't really a mobster. He for one thing, he couldn't. I don't know that he could have been because of his background. Remember, and they mentioned this in Goodfellas
He's
too.
Jewish.
A made guy in the mafia has to be 100% full-blooded Italian, and you have to be verifiably Italian.
FBI.
Yeah, that's right. Unrelated. Because even, and again, they reference it to Goodfellas where, you have the other two main characters with him. Basically, Henry Hill, he says, well, I'm half Italian, half Irish, so he can never be a main guy.
Right. Yeah, that was a big thing in Godfather, right?
As well, yeah. What was the character's name? The one played by, I believe it was by Robert Duvall. I can't remember the character's name.
Right.
Yeah, he couldn't be a made guy for the same reason because I believe he was Irish. So that was the whole issue with it. Even though they trusted him, he couldn't be a made guy. Right. That was the whole deal.
A lot of the actual like full-blooded like families, the ones that are going to be heir to everything, they were a bunch of idiots, or like they were like loose cannons where like he was intelligent, he knew exactly how to run everything, but like
shit together.
Also he would never take over because he wasn't full. So it was kind of complicated.
Another point in Casino I want to mention, and I don't think we've mentioned it yet, is if you watch the movie, and I have a poster that shows it. It's pretty cool. Basically, all the suits that De Niro wears, all those different, like really colorful.
Yeah,
I think they're cool suits, honestly.
Yeah,
really colorful. Suits. Because in real life, the real character actually kind of dressed very colorfully like that, just very stylish,
Did he also not wear pants when he sat at his desk? I thought that was kind of odd.
Actually, I think the implication of that scene is to show that he practically lives there, and that he just makes, when he's alone, he just makes himself comfortable. I think that's the implication of that scene. That up front business, but you can't see the bottoms. Who cares? But the idea is that he's going to make himself comfortable when he's alone. I think that's the implication.
Yeah, he can do all the Zoom calls he wants, because it's just the way stuff.
Especially in 1975, doing all those Zoom calls. Very good.
Sorry, it would have been Skype back then.
So it was probably something else. It was probably called Lens back in those days.
Lens.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Yeah, you see him doing this extra skim, basically. Joe Pesci's character, Nicky, they're doing all with his gang of toughs and they mention this where, it's kind of like Sam has one vision of Vegas, Nicky has another.
And they conflict.
And they mentioned this term, you mentioned earlier, the Wild West. They refer to it as the Wild West a lot. It's this untamed land that anything can be done with it. Otherwise, and if it wasn't for them, and again, there's a quote from the movie, if it wasn't for them, these cowboys out here be still shoveling mule shit.
It was pretty funny that like the Midwesterners thought of Vegas and like the West as like out in the sticks, like there ain't shit out there.
Well, if you look at a picture of Vegas in the 40s, that's kind of what it was.
Basically, yeah.
It was really, it was the West. It was Wild West. Was nothing out there. It was as empty. Like if you look at a picture of some parts of like the San Fernando Valley in the LA area in the 30s and 40s, there was nothing out there. It was farmland.
It wasn't this huge mecca that it is now.
No, not even close. You look at pictures from those days. There was nothing out there. Even in the 50s, as it started to grow, you can look at old TV shows and movies, They show Vegas, and it's like, yeah, you have some buildings here and there, but otherwise, it's just like nothing out there. There is nothing.
Wow.
It's not like today where you get there, it's like, oh my god.
Does this mostly take place in like downtown, like the downtown area? I'm not too familiar with.
It's the downtown area, yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
because that's considered more the old school, right?
it's the downtown area, but in the old school style. So it's not like Fremont Street. That's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm talking more what we consider today the Vegas Strip. It just looked very different. That's all.
Oh, that was off the strip. Okay.
Oh yeah, it just was a very different strip back in those days. And
Gotcha.
part of the reason the strip began, let's go back a little further. Part of the reason that strip exists is because the casinos today on the strip, even though we all say it's Las Vegas, it's not really Las Vegas. It's not the city of Las Vegas. It's actually technically
Paradise?
the unincorporated district of Paradise,
Hmm.
which is an unincorporated district. It is not the city of Las Vegas. That will probably never get changed simply because they don't want the taxation, and that's just not going to happen.
Okay. Yeah, I often wondered why it was called both.
On technical terms, it is in the unincorporated district of Paradise. In reality, actually, it's Paradise, and it's one more. There's another unincorporated district. I can't remember the name of it, but ultimately, it's not City of Las Vegas. Like Fremont Street is City of Las Vegas. This is not. And it's because of the taxation. That's really what it's all about. They don't want, and even though Vegas would love the extra money, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. They're not going to win.
The house always wins.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, needless to say, Nicky, he fucks around and he gets banned.
He fucks around and finds out. He fucks around and finds
He made
out.
the
That's right.
list.
He found out, and he ends up in the black book.
Which means that he is banned from the casinos.
What does this mean? What if I want to go in there and get a sandwich?
Exactly. Yeah, like if you go get a sandwich. No, you can't go get a sandwich. You can't even go get in the parking lot. Can't do nothing.
He just tells him so matter of fact.
Anything can be done about this? Nope.
Like he told him so many times, don't do this, don't do. You're drawing a lot of heat, Nicky. You're drawing a lot of heat.
I mean, I kind of felt for Sam here because he looked relieved, but he was also kind of like bro, I told you. This is out of my hands. You did it to yourself.
In a way, he's relieved for the casino, but he also knows it's only going to get worse because Nicky's not going to stay out of the action.
No.
He's going to keep doing what he needs to do, whatever that may be.
Is he going to turn into something worse now?
Pretty much.
And he does.
And he does. And then some. Like he opens his, what does he call his jewelry store? The Gold Rush? Or something like that? Gold Rush Jewelry, which is like, what the hell? On top of that, he does that. They start doing heists and all kinds of stuff. And I mean like publicly visible heists.
He's drawn more attention to himself, which is
They're
even
knocking
worse.
bricks out of the side of the building with that cloth. They're like with the sledgehammer, just knocking the bricks out.
Yeah.
Just to get into the jewelry store, hop back out. And there's plainly a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
No way.
But yeah, it's just drawing way too much attention now, and he's in the black book, so now it's even worse. But the thing is, they can never prove anything because there are no witnesses.
Right.
So
Exactly.
so it's like they bring him in, but they can't do anything about it.
Yeah, Nicky was always kind of a loose cannon, but man, now he's like a rabid dog off the leash.
Pretty much.
And things start kind of getting worse for Sam too within the casino because Sam is kind of dealing with that slot manager, the incompetent slot manager, Don Ward.
Yep.
And he keeps fucking up, and he's like, "Why are you putting like the best machines in the bag? They should be up front where people can see them." And also, he's like, "I didn't think about it." So he finally ends up firing that guy, right?
Yep.
Because that one machine just keeps like getting jackpots, and he's like, "Why didn't you unplug this fucking thing?"
Yeah.
That Clark County Commission chairman guy, is he the one that ends up visiting him in his office with no pants?
Pat Webb. Yeah, that's the scene. Before I get to that, it related to that. Earlier in the movie, they mentioned the cowboys that have to be kept juiced in.
Yes.
They mentioned that because it's basically the local, the good old boys club is really what it is.
Right.
The yokels.
The yokels, as they refer to them a lot. One scene I do want to mention before we get to that, because I do love this scene, and I'm watching it right now. It's that scene where one of Nicky's people is in the casino with his feet on the table.
Yeah.
The disrespect, right?
The disrespect. And then Joe Pesci's character is even better because he calls him, "Did you know that guy was with me?" "No, but you know what he did?" I asked him politely to put his feet up, take his feet off the table. They told me to go fuck myself, and he called me a faggot. What? Come here. Did you call my friend a faggot and tell him to go fuck himself? Is that what you did? Is that what you did? And then hits him with the phone. Fucking hick you.
And he hears him beating his ass over the phone.
You can hear him, and he goes
using the handset.
And he goes, "You better go back there and apologize. And you better hope he lets you back in."
He lets you in.
And then I love when he gets back on the phone and he goes, Ace, he clearly, Sam, he didn't know who he was dealing with. He's already very, very sorry.
You're sorry, right? Yeah, he's sorry.
And then when he hit, just please let him back in. And he's like, well, if he does it again, he's gone. I don't care what it is. Okay, hangs up.
Mm-hmm.
You put your boots on the table. He keeps saying it.
Yeah.
Probably beat his ass again.
Yeah. And then what's that line? You stinky, what is it? You stinky horse manure motherfucker. What the hell? It's a great scene. But it shows
Nikki's unhinged.
But it shows a few things. It shows the unhinged. It shows that Sam is very protective of the casino. It also shows that Nikki also doesn't really care. He doesn't have any tact.
Mm-hmm.
Or his crew, I should say, has no tact, no anything, no finesse for anything.
Yeah, right. Like he brings in his own crew that are loyal only to him, but like they just blatantly disrespect everyone else, and so that's when they start butting heads. But what I think is also important to note is that early on, Nikki is kind of hilarious, and like you're like, yeah, you're kind of in support of him because he's fucking these other guys up. Over time, he starts becoming like the villain, like the main antagonist, and you're like, oh shit, this guy's like
he's
serious
completely
threat now.
unhinged. Oh yeah, and the line, to quote the line, "You shit-kicking, stinky horse manure-smelling motherfucker, you!" Just like, what the hell? But yeah, no. Basically, he fires Don Ward, the cowboy that you mentioned, basically for gross incompetence.
One of the cowboys, yeah,
or one of the many cowboys. But he fires a cowboy that is essentially the brother-in-law to the county commissioner, Pat Webb, which is who's played by L.Q. Jones, I believe, is who plays him. These are where they're the cultured, got the money and bringing the wealth to Vegas, and these guys are just a bunch of basically mule farmers, for lack of a better term.
That we have to give jobs to.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's
anyway,
bullshit.
So he goes in there and he basically goes in and basically kind of says, "Hey, what can we do to get him his job back? I don't know if you know this, but he's, my brother-in-law, he's family, blah blah blah, And it's that scene where he basically tells him, "Look, your brother-in-law is incompetent." And finally, after kind of a few kind of back and forth, where he tries to kind of say, "Oh no, you better have backup for that." Fine, he goes, "Well, I gotta admit, he is totally useless and kind of." Basically says he's dumb.
Yeah.
He tells him
he admits it. Yeah.
Dumb. And it's like, could there be a position further down the trough?
It's like the politicking going on here. I thought it was interesting because he's just like, is there something that any sort of deal we can work out here? Can you hire him as like, I don't know, some sort of janitorial person?
Anything.
Basically,
it's like, look, I'm asking you nicely to do this. It's a very, very veiled threat.
It's funny too. That's funny as well because he did say earlier, after dealing with that asshole, very beginning of the movie, he's like, I wouldn't even give that guy a mop job.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't even give that guy a mop job.
That's right. Well, no problem, Sam. And he goes, Mr. Rothstein. Oh, no problem, Mr. Rothstein.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just again his incompetence.
And now his uncle's or his brother-in-law, and now his brother. Yeah, and brother-in-law is trying to get him a job back.
Yeah, he's basically telling him, look, I don't care how incompetent he is, give him a job. That's basically what he's saying.
Yeah.
Without saying the words.
In a very political way.
He turns him down, and it's like, and then that's where the threat really comes in, where he says, you will never understand how it works out here. You are just our guests. And that's an interesting thing he says there.
Yeah,
because he's basically telling him, look, we run the show, not you. You think you do. You don't run anything. We run things here. He's telling him that.
And how funny is that, right? Like, they don't respect the, in quotes, cowboys, but at the same time, they're underestimating them. Like, they don't understand, like, what happens if you piss them off.
Mm-hmm. Well, they think nothing. They think these guys are so dumb that they're not going to do anything. But and it's kind of a turning point in the movie in a way, because this guy carries that vendetta with him, and it comes up later. It comes up a little later on in the movie. But yeah, no, it definitely is a beginning of that undoing. It's I guess it's the arrogance that we just do so much here. You're not going to do anything to us, except they will.
He immediately is like, "Hey, let's investigate him a little bit. How's he doing with his gambling license?"
Yeah, they finally talk about the gaming license, which if you think about it before, nobody cared.
Right.
Yep.
Nobody cared.
But there, it becomes a thing.
They eventually do take Sam to court, and they get him on like technicalities or something. Because he was actually legitimately filling out the proper paperwork and all that stuff.
Later on, they turned his license down based on
They had no reason.
they never quite specified, but when you see Pat Webb sitting in the audience, kind of with kind of a smirk, it kind of tells you that he had something to do with it.
Mhm.
Oh, definitely. I don't even think that was like, there was a whole scene where he was arguing. He was calling him out like, well, can you at least give me a reason like why? And he was just like, oh, I'm sorry, you know?
Oh yeah, oh god, his TV show. Oh god,
Mhm.
yeah, Aces. Which, by the way, if you look up on YouTube, the Frank Rosenthal show, it is a real show. Look it
I
up. It
figured
is
as
real.
much. Because this would be a ridiculous thing to make up.
The juggling never happened though. But the famous, that juggling scene where they're watching, don't do it, Ace. Oh no. Oh, and then Phil Greer's like, oh no, oh no. He's juggling the damn balls.
Oh, here comes the
But yeah,
juggling.
no, it's interesting to watch. Yeah, he did his TV show. It's like, let's draw less attention. Oh, I know. Let's get on TV.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
And
the way to do it.
that's of course after they interview him and he's like, oh, so you're the boss. Oh, well, no, I serve at the pleasure of the chairman of the board.
When he's away, I
When he's
kind
away,
of
I serve
oversee
at the
it.
pleasure
Yeah.
of the chairman, you know.
So you run it.
Well, again, I serve at the pleasure of the chairman of the board. And then even Don Rickles' character says, then they ask him how often he's here. He's here about 2 to 3 times a month. He's very busy with real estate deals.
That's crazy. Cat's out of the bag now.
So you're the
Yeah.
boss.
Some might say something along those lines. Yeah.
He's kind of skirts it, but says it.
He was beating around the bush so hard, man.
It's so bad. It's so bad. But yeah, basically at this point, the whole thing is starting to fall apart.
Oh, it's unraveling, and it
Man.
gets worse because now the outfit is starting to notice that the skim is getting smaller and smaller.
Yep, they're starting to notice. And then they order basically a moron to go oversee it. The other boss, Artie Piscano,
Oh my God.
he's an idiot.
Yeah.
What's the line where he says, this guy could screw up, what does he say? Screw up a light bulb or something?
I don't remember the specifics.
Yeah, he says like this guy could screw up anything, basically, is the implication. He's useless.
Yeah. And yet they still trust him to go fix it. I don't know if maybe they want to just give him one more chance to prove himself or something.
Well, the whole thing with him is he keeps written records of everything. It's like,
Everything.
what in the
Yeah.
hell are you doing? I mean, my God.
Oh, his name was Artie Piscano, right?
Piscano, yeah, Artie Piscano. It's
Yeah.
crazy. He is keeping written records of all these illicit things. It's like, what the hell? Jesus Christ! That'd be like today a criminal saying, "Okay, I'm gonna record this on my phone now, so you guys can hear me." It's like,
Just in case anyone's
This is an
listening.
admission of guilt.
It's kind of wild because he had no idea that the FBI were on his ass and they were bugging all these things. Like they had bugs in the restaurant, right? And
Yep.
or at the grocery store, I think is what it was.
Well, in the grocery store, they also had it at Ace's house. That their lines were tapped at Nikki's places. It was interesting because they even know this, and they're talking in code the whole time.
Right, right.
To the point where they have to meet. There's this scene where they have to meet. What is it? Halfway, like down the road, like a half mile down the road.
Oh, right. And he has to switch cars like 6 times.
Yes, Nikki has to switch cars 6 times. And then they meet halfway down the road, like in the middle of nowhere in the freaking desert.
Nowhere.
Is what it really is.
Mhm. The parking lot, they have to like cover their mouths as they're
Oh
talking.
yeah,
Right.
when they're smoking and covering their mouths. I forgot
The
about
mouth
that.
watchers or the lip watchers. Lip
Where
readers.
the fuck are these guys? I don't see them.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like looking around for them.
Yeah, but it's interesting that it starts getting pretty noticeable and pretty bad. Like it's becoming like the walls are closing in. Ultimately, is what it is. As they're closing in, on top of that, Ace and Ginger's relationship, I mean, just crumbling completely.
Yeah.
That gets way out of hand. Well, I mean, to be honest though, Ginger was, even like as soon as they got married, Michael was mentioning that she already called up Lester and was like crying, was like, I think I made a mistake.
Mhm.
Oh
And
yeah, no. It was already bad, but at least it was. I'll put it this way: it was
it was
somewhat
tolerable.
exactly tolerable.
Mhm.
No, it got worse. I mean, at that point, it was just. I mean, it was completely insufferable. It was done.
She kind of lets this bitterness build up inside of her, and I don't actually fully understand where like all this resentment came from.
I guess the way she describes it, she doesn't like having to beg for money.
Right,
I
right.
don't. I think that's it. Not having
She blames
control.
him for stealing her independence. Is that what?
Yeah. Well, because he didn't take no for an answer when she said that he didn't. She didn't want to marry him. She told him in so many words, "I don't want to marry you. I'm not that type. I don't feel about you that way." And so it's like she's been shackled this whole time with golden handcuffs. Like she can go touch her stuff. Like she takes their kid and she's like, look at all these nice things that daddy got me. But she's like drunk because at the end of the day, it's not fulfilling to her. So she's hating life. And she used to be like this. She's this magnetic person. She walks into a room and everyone lights up, and she knows how to work a room, how to make other people feel good, how to pay people out, all these kinds of things to get their loyalty. And now she's lost all that. It doesn't come from this joy within that she had. It comes from being forced to by going to parties and pretending to be nice for her husband's people. Now it's just like it's not for the joy of it anymore like she used to have with her autonomy. And so yeah, after years of that, I'm sure, and now having had a kid, even though she probably feels guilt about having had this kid and not really caring about it that way, it's now just a chit. It's just another bargaining chip. It's another possession of his.
Well, it ultimately boils over, and so Ginger just randomly kidnaps the daughter and plans on going to Europe with Lester. So like that doesn't go over really well with Sam at all.
Indeed it doesn't. And there's that scene where he's pretending to write her his phone number down and everything, and then he knows where we are.
And that makes her hate Sam even more because of what he's doing to Lester.
Exactly. So it's building up, and it's obvious it's building up.
He's fighting for his family, and he's like, who the fuck is this guy stealing money from us too? Well, not really stealing, but like he's manipulating her into giving the money over. And so he's just like, fuck that.
He's stealing the money that was already stolen. Right, but nevertheless, I will say the other part of this is, so it was Nikki's guys that beat him. Let's mention that, because that is a huge part of it. Because later on, she goes to Nikki for comfort, which is another whole hot mess. You know, and the whole thing, and then it's like now they're having an affair, which is another.
That was an awkward scene
mess
to watch.
Yeah, because now it's truly getting screwed up. You know, but as long as the money's coming in, nobody cares. But once the money is not coming in as much, that's where it starts to become a major problem. You know, and it's just interesting to see how much more degenerate they become over time.
Oh yeah, that ship is sinking fast. It's getting more holes by the second.
Oh gosh, yes. It's I mean, it is completely falling apart. And then you have his right-hand man, Dicky's right-hand man, to be clear, Frank Marino. That's the guy who's always with him. What's interesting is they even what is it, Gaji, one of the bosses, asks him point blank back home, says, now I'm gonna ask you a question. I want you to tell me the truth. And he asks him, is Nikki, basically doesn't say those words, but he says, is Nikki doing Ace's wife? Is he fucking Sam's wife?
Right.
Do you know anything about that? It's like he goes, he lies. Says no, he does know. Yeah. Oh, he knows. You know, but he's covering because he knows if he says yes, most likely he'll be killed. Nikki will be, I mean, there'll be a whole bunch of people that'll be.
It's going to get ugly, but it gets ugly either way.
It's bad either way, because that shouldn't even they say, look, the one thing the bosses don't tolerate is that it's kind of that old greaseball shit, as they call it. Is basically is kind of doing it with the wives. They don't want, because they don't want the mess. That's where it comes down.
Family's off limits. Yeah,
because they don't want the mess. It's not because they love them. It's they don't want the mess. You know, they could run to the FBI or whatever. You know, that's the risk there.
Right.
And it comes to a head in 1982 when the FBI, I think they finally do that raid on Piscano's restaurant, and they find the book that has the records of everything.
Yeah, like they literally discovered the book that literally has everything written down in it.
All that they needed.
Records, places, dates. Times. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I guess he becomes so agitated that he has a heart attack and dies. He literally died.
During the raid?
In the raid, he's like, oh. He literally dies in front of his wife and the FBI.
Useless. God, that guy sucks.
Useless.
It just completely falls apart. At this point, you know, this is right after, what's it called? Ginger tied up her daughter at home just to go
and then
out.
Left. Yeah. She was just like, I thought she'd be fine like that. She was sleeping.
She was just sleeping. What's the problem?
She fucking tied her to the bed like Reagan from The Exorcist.
That's what I was thinking. You see it for The Exorcist.
Oh, damn.
And then she goes to Nikki after the big fight. She leaves, goes to Nikki, and basically asking him to kill Sam.
She was ordering him around, and he was like, "Who the fuck are you talking to?"
You think I'm going to kill him for you? I've known him for 35 years. You're not going to kill him for you? Although I will say earlier in the movie, in that scene, the one where where they're smoking the cigarette and kind of covering their lips,
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
they are talking about potentially. He's talking about potentially whacking him, but he's thinking about it.
Yeah, and then he ultimately decides like, no, I can't do that.
At least at this point,
They have that history, yeah.
Mhm.
it's like where she tries to go back to get her stuff at the house.
Oh
Demanding,
my
I want
god,
this
like
and I want
she
that.
gets kicked out and comes back and kicked out and comes
Mhm.
back. Like, man, this is
Well, to the point where she's basically ramming his Cadillac.
a very exhausting relationship.
Mhm.
Yeah, and she's like,
Mhm.
"I want my stuff," blah, blah, blah. And that's where she grabs that key to the safe to go get the money
Yeah.
at
She knew
the bank.
exactly where it was. I do blame Sam for that. He should have found a way better spot for that.
Oh well, that was a hot mess of a relationship. Look, that's everybody. That's their own faults, both of them.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
didn't love him. He knew she didn't love him. He still went with it. That's all on him. It's their fault. Both of them. They're both terrible for each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah,
Let's
they
not
were.
pretend one was good and one was bad. They were both terrible people. Different ways, but they were both terrible people.
Mhm.
Sam's also at home and not at the casino because around this time the Tangiers gets closed down, right?
Not yet.
I thought the bosses also got arrested around this time.
Not quite. They're almost there. Right now, he's still running the Tangiers. He's still trying to keep it running. It's still running day to day. They are bringing, it's like shortly after this is where the raid happens, and basically the Tangiers is closed down. It's like right after this.
It's crazy. Like it probably took years and years for just this whole operation to be put into place, and then now it folds like a house of cards
Pretty
as soon
much.
as the
Oh
feds
yeah.
get involved.
Oh yeah.
Crazy.
Right after this, yeah, you're right. The Tangiers is closed. The bosses are brought in where they're like with ventilated respirators
Oh god.
because
They're
they're
all
all
so
so old
old.
and frail and blah. And I was like,
Mhm.
bullshit.
Mhm.
And they're basically talking about, well, what are we going to do? Are we going to kill them or what? That's where basically anybody involved is basically being killed at this point.
Damn, we got to clean up our mess, tie up
Yeah.
Mhm.
loose ends.
They
Tie
killed,
loose ends.
the
Mhm.
character of Andy Stone, which is actually the guy who presents the check to Philip Green earlier in the movie.
Ah.
He has like a
Yeah.
he's not really a main character in the movie, but he does play an important role in the end. But they kill him because, well, he ain't Italian. That's really why they killed him. They even say as much, because he's not
Simple as that.
Italian. And
Oh, they
then
kill Andy Stone, you're saying?
yeah, because he's Irish, not
Yeah.
Italian.
Yeah, yeah. Dang. Yeah, he was the head of the Teamsters pension fund.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah. So again, big role, but not really. Of course, Philip
Mhm.
Green, he basically folds. I didn't know anything about that. I'll tell you whatever you want to know.
Yeah, yeah.
He was going to fold in 2 seconds.
He was the one that was supposed to be kind of like
The front man.
the squeaky clean guy. Yeah.
Side note on the front man, one piece we didn't mention earlier in the movie, there is this part where this like other business partner he had, this lady comes in and tries to sue him for money for her
Right.
share.
That partner that no one knew about.
Yeah, that nobody knew about. He's supposed to be the squeaky frontman and all that, and squeaky clean frontman. And basically, when they say we're going to have to open the books, you go, "Well, open the books. That's not good." So they settle out of court, meaning Nikki goes to kill her, and
Yeah.
that's the settlement. And then the very next scene is like, "Are you aware of the murder of your partner?" Blah blah. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. And basically, he's like, "What?" I think legitimately he had no idea.
Right,
I don't think
right.
he was faking that. I think he really didn't know.
How does that not look suspicious to everyone else, right? Like the public. There's this whole like lawsuit going on, and all of a
Mhm.
sudden she's dead the next day.
Yeah, so basically the bosses are arrested. Everybody's being whacked left and right. They're all being killed.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that in the next scene, then you have Nikki, basically meeting out in a cornfield. Nikki, his brother, and a bunch of other guys meeting in the cornfield.
He knows that like the bosses are coming for everyone's head, so he basically tries to like exile himself somewhere, right?
Well, yeah, he can't even get anywhere near Vegas anymore at this point. He's completely gone from Vegas. He can't be there. So they're meeting out in this cornfield to discuss what they're going to do next. And this is where he's actually Joe Pesci's character actually narrating the scene. So
Yeah.
we're meeting out in the cornfield and he screams because they hit him with the bat. And by the way, the guy who hits him with the bat, the character of Frank Marino, played by Frank Vincent, in a reference to Goodfellas, in Goodfellas, Joe Pesci's character is the one who kills him.
Nice.
Here, Billy Bats, I guess, kills Joe Pesci's character.
Poetic justice.
Yeah, granted, this scene I will say is very gruesome.
Yeah.
Very,
Yeah.
very gruesome.
I wasn't sure if it was just me, but I was like, man, this is a really uncomfortable scene to watch.
Oh,
Like
it
this
is.
was,
Oh, it is.
and I mean, I've seen some gnarly horror movies, but this one was like, it was unexpected.
Yeah, and we've seen the same guy who's being beaten stab somebody in the throat. It's the same one movie with a freaking fountain pen multiple times, and still this is worse.
And now he gets his, yeah. And it's crazy because it's so slow. Like they take out the brother first, make him watch, and then they take him out.
Please, no, not my brother. He's still, he's crying. He's still alive. Please leave him alone because he really did love his brother. You can tell he did.
Yeah,
You can tell he truly loved his brother.
At first, he's angry, right? And he's just like, "You motherfuckers! I'll kill every one of you." And then he's like sobbing by the end of it.
Right.
Because he knows his
Right.
brother's dying, and it really hurts him. That's the thing that probably hurts him the most of it all.
And they're not beaten to death; they're buried to death.
Well, they're burying him alive and letting him die in the hole. That's the
That's
whole thing.
crazy.
Now,
That's even worse.
One thing I
That's
want to
not
mention about this scene this would be at this point, I believe it's implied it's like in the 80s at this point, mid 80s.
Oh yeah.
But the thing with him is this. Here's the thing. In real life, they don't know how he was truly killed. What they do know, actually at that time in 95, they didn't know this. It came out later. I think in the mid 2000s. Basically, long story short, that the idea is that they were actually brought into a basement somewhere, middle of nowhere, a basement. They were killed in the basement, and were actually basically bloody and killed in the basement, and then basically were taken to that field and buried.
Oh, okay.
And the only reason they found them was because what ended up happening was a farmer noticed that a patch of corn wasn't growing. A patch of the cornfield wasn't growing. And when he brought in someone to look at the soil, say, "Hey, there's something wrong with the soil. What the hell's going on?" They thought that maybe just a deer had been killed there and buried. That's what they thought. When they saw when they saw the underwear, they're like,
their
"Oh,
bones."
shit."
Yeah,
And
remains.
they figured out what it was. The FBI was brought in and basically they investigated.
And they confirmed it was Nikki.
Yeah,
or the
confirmed
real
whole
life
deal.
Nikki.
Yeah, they confirmed that it was Spilatro, basically. I think his real name was Anthony Spilatro, if I remember correctly.
One of the few holes that ever been discovered, right?
One of the many holes. Yeah, exactly.
How many more are out there?
Yeah.
See ya, pal.
You have Ginger basically just dying with a bunch of lowlives.
Oh, right.
Yep.
Because of the drug. Basically, she took the money and squandered
That was
it all.
sad.
Or pretty much all of it.
She had like almost nothing. What, like 15,000 or something?
Not
left?
even that. It was like almost no money and drugs.
Jeez.
And basically, in the movie, they say she was given a hot dose.
She just
which
OD'd.
I believe that is actually kind of what happened in real life. She was basically drug overdose.
Yeah. In LA, right? Like she just moved and she was living out of like some hotel in LA.
Yeah, it was a pretty sad ending, but she did it to herself. That's the sad part. She did it to herself.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that's the life she wanted, but it kind of was.
She was always kind of self-destructive, you know.
Very much so, very self-destructive. She was not she just I don't know if she liked it or just couldn't get away from it. It's hard to tell, you know.
I mean, it started with Lester. Like I don't know what he did to her, but he fucked her up mentally.
Oh, he did, and then some, and she just went with it. You know, was what it was. But yeah, that was the end of her life right there. That was the end of her. Basically, just a very sad end. It's kind of interesting. She goes from having that, you know, earlier in the movie, and you kind of see the change where she has kind of the long, pretty hair, dresses really nicely.
So glamorous.
Toward the end, she has that
together.
short hair, and she's dressing kind of crummier and crummier. Toward the end, she's just a hot mess. It's very sad. It's very sad.
Very drugged up.
Very much. And then finally, you have Sam, who, you know, basically says, you know, they had other ideas for him. Because essentially he's walking. Well, you want to tee up the scene, Eric?
This is what you were talking about at the very beginning, right? When it kind of throws you towards the end and he steps into his car and that thing straight up explodes. But what he was explaining was that specific year and model of the car had like a thick plate under it, like a steel plate, which actually shielded him from the blast. So he actually survived it.
Yeah, he basically described it as amateur hour.
Yeah.
You know, they planted it under the passenger seat, and the driver's seat had that metal plate that nobody outside the factory knew that existed.
They did confirm that was Nikki's crew that set that up, right?
Not in the movie, but it's heavily implied. In real life, yeah, they never truly confirmed, but yeah, it was heavily implied it was him and his crew. It was heavily implied, you know, that it was him and his crew. It was not authorized by the bosses. If he really, in real life, had been the bosses, he would have been killed at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. a long time ago,
No, he
probably.
wasn't, and the reason he was is very simple. He was a cash cow, and they knew that. But yeah, the whole deal with the car is in real. The thing with that Cadillac, that's a real life thing. The reason the metal plate was there is because it was a weight imbalance with the car. So this was the balance. That was the whole problem with the car. It was like a
Just
technical
slap on another
defect.
piece of metal.
The only
Wow.
reason that piece of metal was there, except nobody knew.
That saved his life. That's man, he got lucky.
Very much so,
Yeah.
and that was really what saved him at that point. But yeah, that was kind of, they had other ideas for him because again, he could still
Yeah.
make money. That's what tees up that scene with all the casinos being destroyed, or excuse me, a casino
Yeah.
being destroyed. Like what they show first, and I have a list of it. They show, I think it was the first casino to be destroyed was not the Stardust. It was '93. I believe it's the scene of I think it was the Dunes, if I remember correctly, in '93 that was destroyed. And I could be wrong on that. Like I said, I have a list of it. But essentially, what it is they show these casinos being blown up, and that's when he talks about how the corporations took over. And after the
Yeah.
Tangiers, it was never the same. It was just the corporations came in and took over.
Which is what we see now. Like it's basically like the 3 megacorps that all
I
control
think
the
it's
strip,
two
right?
now, actually.
Oh,
I
2.
think it's just
Damn.
NGM and Caesars, if I'm not mistaken.
That's it, huh?
Unless you guys know a third that I'm not aware of, which is possible. I'm not gonna say it's not.
No.
I mean, that's the nature of capitalism, right? Is like you're always just kind of consuming more, and whoever consumes the most is going to be the big dog. Whoever's left.
Now I will say this is 1995, and the movie represents 19. Was made in 1995. So a couple things they show at the time they show the Luxor as being really fancy, which it's a dump now.
Yeah.
By the way, look up any YouTube video; it's a dump. It really
Oh,
is.
I believe you. But what I do like about Luxor is that I feel like you can definitely see like how sick that thing was back in the day because it's so unique.
Oh yeah, no. In the early days of the Luxor, it was an absolute gorgeous, beautiful hotel.
Yeah,
In
that
'95,
light that shines up, it's iconic, man.
no, in 1995, it was still very beautiful. In '96, when they started shutting down the ride, that's when it started turning more and more sour. Now it's a piece of garbage, quite frankly. It's one of the worst hotels on the strip. So they show that. They show the Excalibur, which is the castle. They show the pirates, the pirate ship. I think that's Treasure Island, if I'm not
Treasure
mistaken.
Island, which is gone.
Which
from my understanding,
no
yeah.
Treasure Island's. Well, maybe the ship is gone, but Treasure Island's still around.
Oh, is it? Okay.
No, Treasure Island's still around. The Mirage is now gone. Actually, they showed the Mirage, but that's gone. That was just closed, I think, less than a year ago.
Wow.
It's actually going to be. I just saw the sign. I believe it's going to become the Hard Rock Cafe and Hotel now.
I heard that, yeah.
So it's going to be a Hard Rock Hotel now. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, the Mirage is gone. Like you
Mhm.
can still see the kind of the what is it called? The last vestige of the signage, but it's gone. It's gone.
Gotcha. Is that the one that had the volcano
R.I.P.
in front?
No. Yes, actually, yes, it was. It was that one. Yes. It had that. They had the beautiful sign on both sides of the
Yes.
building that said the Mirage. It's gone now. It was a very beautiful hotel. Very, very beautiful. Very, very iconic, quite frankly.
And
Mhm.
basically, the reason why it's shown all these, like a montage of these, is because it's like from Sam's perspective, he's lamenting, right? Like all these amusement parks that are coming in. He's like, man, these aren't even real hotels. These are just like fucking kid rides.
It's like an airport. He said, just you're random. Some 25-year-old kid is running you through, asking for your social security number. It's like nobody knows anybody.
Yeah.
It's just very impersonal.
Right.
Granted, they make he's over romanticizing what it
Of
really
course,
was, to be
of
fair.
course. Yeah.
But yeah, basically saying it's just corporate. It's sellout. That's all it is.
Mhm.
Which really, I honestly firmly believe that honestly corporate is just the new mafia, but with a kind of like a more polished professional face. But the principle's the same.
Mhm.
Because I promise you, even today, if you win a bit of money in a casino, believe me, in many cases they'll see to it that you don't win that money because either the machine was malfunctioning or some other nonsense why you can't win. Again, that's just an allegation, just for the legal record, allegation. I want to be very clear about that. I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I'm alleging that it could be that way, potentially, possibly, but it is.
I like how you're almost pointing up to the Three Stooges behind you.
That's right, right behind me.
It says you can't fix stupid.
That's right. But anyway, no, I mean, yeah, it shows all that, and then it shows him in San Diego now, but implying it's like 1995 at this point.
Yeah.
He's just basically still doing what he always
Far
did.
removed from his former life, yeah.
Back to where he started, basically picking winners and gambling successfully, and still making money for the people back home.
I do kind of feel bad for him in a lot of ways because he was kind of imprisoned at the casino. And now he's still working for them, just like in San Diego now
That's where,
instead of
yeah.
Vegas.
Well, I mean, yeah, look, at the end of the day, he ended where he started. And what's interesting about him, it's kind of interesting throughout the movie. He mentions this, and especially in the beginning, he goes, anywhere about Vegas, he goes, anywhere else in the country, I'm a bookie, I'm a
Mhm.
gambler, blah blah blah. But here, I'm Mr. Rothstein. Here they're
That's
giving
right.
me awards. I'd be arrested anywhere else in the country for doing this. Here, they're giving me awards.
Mhm.
He talks about it.
Yeah.
Just a different world out in Vegas. Vegas is a very different world in
Oh
many
yeah.
respects. But yeah, I mean, and then once they show that scene, that's that. He even says, and that's that.
And that's that on Casino. Time to cash out. If you made it to the end of our podcast, then you just got what you had coming to you, but in a good way.
But in a good
Right.
way.
That's right. Or so I'm told.
Any final thoughts or closing comments?
Honestly, great movie. I still one of my favorite personal movies of all time. I love this movie. I can watch it endlessly just because I find the topic fascinating. I find the topic of just kind of the real life elements and everything, plus the glitz and glamour of Las Vegas, very fascinating. I really do. I prefer it over Goodfellas in many ways because it also represents the West Coast over the East Coast. I'm not an East Coast guy by any stretch of the
Mhm.
imagination.
Mhm.
I'm a West Coast guy, and I firmly prefer it. Goodfellas has more of a grit because the East Coast thing. I firmly believe that's part of it. Whereas Vegas is more glamour, glitz, neon lights,
Mm.
et cetera, et cetera. I mean, Atlantic City's nothing compared to Vegas, in my view.
When did it get the moniker Sin City?
Well, it has to do a lot with the gambling because gambling is seen as a sin in many places. I don't
Right,
necessarily
right.
agree with that assessment.
I think in many ways it was kind of used as like a way of like demeaning it, but Vegas just embraced it.
Oh, it's publicity at the end of the day. Think about it.
Mhm.
So I'll put it this way: the illicit can be attractive. It's kind of like I'll put it to you guys this way: it's kind of like where some women get off on trying to start affairs with married men. It's just because they're unavailable. That's all it is. They get off on that.
It's the excitement of
It's
yeah.
the excitement of the illicit, of the unobtainable. That's all it really is. Sin City just has an allure to it. Plus, again, a lot of people consider gambling to be sinful. They consider, strict. Basically, everything that Las Vegas is to be sinful. I mean, for God's sake, you walk on the strip and you see a bunch of guys looking like they're about to light a match because they're handing out cards to strip clubs. You got the showgirls walking around on the street for pictures, as well as the Chippendales for the
Mhm.
women. Or, well, I don't want to judge people, but the point is, you got the Chippendales dancers doing the same thing. If you walk, believe me, you'll see them. The point is, a lot of people see that as sinful. I don't necessarily agree with that assessment, but it also draws people to it.
It's entertainment.
It's entertainment. At the end of the day, it's entertainment. Granted, Vegas is a lot more family friendly now than it was back in the 70s. It's different in that regard. But some things never change. Still money being made.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Still got the restaurants, you still got the gaming, you still got people who are very addicted. You can smell the smoke inside. It's the whole thing.
Lovely.
Lovely smoke. Yeah, right. But ultimately, yeah, no, you got all that. And then some things never change. I mean, it's 30 years on from when the movie was made, which at the time represented 20
Mhm.
years prior.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting, like, historical movie if you look at it in that way. I hadn't seen it that way before. This viewing,
A
I
time
started to
capsule.
see it that way. Yeah, it's sort of like this graphic, violent, charming in some way, like simpler time. Were it not for, of course, Nicky just with his outrageous violence and all that. But like, yeah, it's interesting to see a glimpse behind it, what it was, what it is now, and what it was back then.
Well, it's simpler in the sense that certain technology didn't exist, but it was still just as gruesome and bad.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just as bad. I mean, the only difference is back then you didn't in the 70s you didn't have cell phones yet.
People just were more oblivious.
Yeah, and also you notice later in the movie he gives her a beeper.
So you can keep
Mm,
track of her.
mhm.
And she was like, I threw that shit
It was
away.
the early days of beepers, though. It was in the very,
That
very
was
early days of
Right,
beepers.
right. I did think that was funny.
Yeah, it was a different time. But again, it was a different time. It was a very, very different time.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, this was the first time that I had seen this movie, so I really enjoyed it. Obviously, there was At the very beginning, there's a ton of exposition, like a whole encyclopedia of mobsters, right? I don't know. I mean, like flying past all that, I still enjoyed the overall story, and I did enjoy that they took their time fleshing out the characters, which is why the movie's like 3 hours long.
Yep.
And honestly, this might be my favorite Joe Pesci role because he was a fucking badass. He was legit scary in this movie.
Yeah, he played that character where he was that badass, really.
Yeah, you did not want to fuck with him.
Oh yeah, no, no, no. It's kind of interesting, because he played that same kind of crazy outlandish, crazy unhinged character, a very similar character in Goodfellas.
Exactly.
But it's kind of interesting. You see him later in The Irishman, like 20 years later, and he basically plays like this really calm and demure, still very violent, but very calm and demure violent. He plays like the boss, so he's very calm and demure. Versus here, he's just unhinged and badass crazy.
Right.
Joe Pesci did a rap album.
What the hell?
I'm not joking. He did I think it was 1998. He did a rap album.
Oh my
That is
god.
a real thing. Look it up.
I don't even know if I want to look that up.
That was tapping into that market that he created with, or that he reached in the movie The Super. I don't know if you remember that
In
one.
1998, actually, this is his second album. In 1998, he released his second album and his first in 30 years. Vincent LaGuardia Gambini sings "Just for You."
If he's not doing his friggin' in one of the songs, then I'm out.
Yeah, it's just interesting. He did a rap number in that whole album. That's the whole idea. Most of it was big band jazz, but he did a rap song in there. It's just what in God's name is this?
I dig it.
I'm already like pre-offended.
Pre-offended.
Well, on that note, have you guys watched anything lately? Film or TV or played games or anything?
Oh, plenty. As far as movies and TV go, I often will catch myself watching television, particularly anime. I watch a lot of anime. Half the titles I don't remember, mainly because they're kind of complicated, so I kind of forget them sometimes.
No, what's it called? Demon Slayer?
Oh, I watched that. That one's pretty good, but that's not the one I was thinking of at all. Demon Slayer is pretty good. I actually went to watch the movie in theaters. It was really good. Before COVID, it was like a week before COVID. I went to a movie theater, went to Harkins, the Cine One at the time. I think it's called something else now, but it was Cine One at the time. It was basically their big screen.
Yeah.
Tuesday morning, I was on vacation, so I was off that day. I said, let me go watch a movie. I went to watch the My Hero Academia movie. I was the only person in that Cine One theater by myself.
And it was awesome.
Which, by the way, is freaking awesome. Because you can't
Yeah.
being by yourself and unbothered by, I'm just going to say it, stupid children. And if that gets me censored, fine. I don't care. But for you parents, you need to watch your children who's always making noise in the movie theater. You need to tell them to shut up, okay? I'm there to watch a movie, not to listen to a bunch of children go, nobody cares. Shut the hell up and watch the goddamn movie. Rant over. And this is where we get canceled, right? Is it where we get canceled?
Well, we are now.
You know what? I'm on a rant. I don't care. I'm just gonna keep going. But as far as like recent games or movies, I guess one recent game I played, it's not a recent game, but it is recent for me because they did something very interesting. So a game I was playing recently was actually Sonic Unleashed, which is a game from 2008 originally, actually. What's interesting about it is about a month ago, March 1st, they actually released a pack for PC called Unleashed Recompiled, which what it is originally this game was released on Xbox 360 and PS3, 720p resolution. And by the way, it ran at sort of 30 frames per second, but kind of wasn't so great because the hardware couldn't handle it, is really what it was.
Oh, okay.
This is basically a recompiled PC port of this game that allows it to run in full 4K resolution and then some, very, very smoothly. It runs like a champ. The graphics look friggin' awesome. And, just seeing that for me realized the dream because I always thought, I'll never see this. And it finally happens thanks to the third-party modding community. And I'll give kudos to Sega for allowing that kind of third-party modding.
Oh, they're not Nintendo. Nintendo would have shut that shit down.
Yeah, exactly. Nintendo, they're the litigious. Sega's not litigious. They'll just do it. Have fun. As long as you're not making profit, we don't give a shit what you do.
Well, how about you, Michael? Anything?
Um, I I've had this obsession, sort of. Not, I don't know if I'd say obsession. It's just I really have been watching Formula One, Drive to Survive on Netflix. I started that a few years ago and then stopped for a bit, and then I got back into it again. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. Just it was funny because I just binged all of season 6 and season 7. Actually, I don't think I've seen the first 3 seasons. I just kind of jumped in. I was just like, oh, what is this one year? And I was just like, boom. Next thing you know, here
You
I
weren't
am.
curious to go back and just start from the beginning?
Oh, I will once I'm done with this most recent season. I'll definitely jump back in. It'll kind of be cool to see some of these drivers, and it's just crazy. I don't know, just getting in the mindset of what these people are putting themselves through to see kind of the rigorousness of a glimpse a little bit at least into what they do on the daily.
Sure.
So there's that, and then I also went to theaters yesterday with Easton and my brothers actually, and we saw Princess Mononoke.
Oh, okay. How
Yeah,
was
the
that?
4K
Ooh,
restoration in at Harkins. It was
that's
awesome.
a
It was
great movie.
awesome, stunningly beautiful. The music was
I haven't
amazing.
watched that in 20 years.
Yeah, same. I saw it just once, maybe twice, and so I didn't even remember how it ends, and it was beautiful. It was such a great experience. Yeah, and it's funny because I think now about the fact that kids don't really like cartoons, like they like their CG movies. So to go to theaters and see something like that, to be able to see something in theaters,
Hand drawn.
hand
Yeah.
drawn that way, but there's such an amazing anime. Yeah, so
Beautiful art.
beautiful, beautiful,
Absolutely.
great, awesome story.
So really quick, I just want to mention the movie I saw,
Go for it.
which was Mulholland Drive on Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
And first time seeing that, that's an interesting one because at first it seems like it's a pretty grounded film for David Lynch, and then about the 2 hour mark, it gets really Lynchian and gets wild. So yeah, I mean, if you're into David Lynch films and you enjoy all that craziness, then go watch Mulholland Drive.
Yeah. Some see, yeah, hail it as his best.
What's funny is for years until you kind of told me what it really was. Growing up in LA, I always thought Mulholland Drive was a movie about a road named Mulholland Drive because there actually is Mulholland Drive in real life.
Mhm.
Right, right, yeah, yeah.
What the hell am I going to watch a movie about a road I have 5 miles from my house? Who the hell's going to watch that garbage? That's just literally what I thought the movie was about.
So, Eric, like I said, it was a long time coming. Thanks for coming on the
Mhm,
show. And
mhm.
before we close out, I just want you to know that, as expected, this episode was a hot mess, and I hope you're proud of yourself. No,
I am. I am pretty
no.
proud.
Before we close out, is there anything you want to plug for yourself?
I want to plug the fact that this was a hot mess of a show, and I'm very proud of that hot mess, of the tangents and
Very
the
proud.
rants and the never-ending stories that we went on. And it was a hell of a
Mhm.
journey. It was a hell of a journey, and I loved it. I was here for it, to be clear. Shameless plug: I do run a gaming channel on the side. Casual Gamer 4K is the name of the channel. All spelled out the way I said it. Casual Gamer 4K. Again, casual is the emphasis of it being that I make mistakes and it is what it is. But what I emphasize mostly is the video quality and the audio quality. I do most of the uploads. Well, actually, I do all the uploads in 4K resolution, 60 frames. Um,
Yeah.
and the audio when I can, mostly in 5.1 surround. YouTube doesn't always do a good job of translating that, but it is in 5.1 surround whenever possible. So yeah. It's a little gaming channel around the side. It's mostly long plays, no commentary. I don't believe in doing commentary. It disrupts the game.
Ah, I love that. I love that you don't do that. That's really, really cool. So you get to get a little glimpse into what this game is like. It's almost like an unboxing video. You get to kind of like see this world unfold. Yeah, that's awesome. It reminds me of this Brian Eno quote talking about just the media or the medium that you're using and how you're now going to be making visible for other people in a much higher quality than
Oh yeah.
maybe they would have seen otherwise. But these really, really cool games that you have enjoyed,
Mhm.
whether from the past or anything present, whatever. Is that what kind of games do you typically like to
It
play through?
ranges.
It ranges from all kinds. It's mostly so let's start with saying it's stuff I like to play.
Right,
Big
right.
fan of Sonic games, some Mario games, racing games. I'm a big fan of racing games. Actually, my
Mm.
number one video on the channel, which it surprises me to this day, is a playthrough of Need for Speed Porsche Unleashed from 2000. That is like the number one video on my channel by far.
Cool.
With a distant second being Star Wars Shadows of the Empire from 1996. Another old school game.
Oh, wow.
I do love that for you though, because with your top video being about Porsches and that being your favorite brand of car, I just think it just fits, you know?
Yeah, actually, my fandom really started of the Porsches. It kind of got accentuated with this game. I learned a lot about Porsches through. Believe it or not, it is a treasure trove of information of the Porsche brand, up to 2000, of course, at the time.
Wow.
We're not getting paid by Porsche, by the way. I'll be very clear about that.
Hey, I mean, if they want to sponsor you, you wouldn't say no.
I wouldn't say no to that. I love that brand. But anyway, the channel's really about older, kind of just any games I like. I do all kinds of gaming. I don't follow trends too much as far as games because I don't have any interest. There's a lot of new games I go that I have no idea what the hell they are.
So part of the draw is that we don't really know what games you are going to show, and it could be something that's old, much older.
There's games I've surprised people. They even go, "What is that?" And people don't even know what the heck it is. And I love that.
See, exactly. That's really cool. And that there's no voiceover, that you're just having the playthrough. It's honestly something that's it's calming to have in the background, even as you're playing through, and you can have music on and stuff like that. That's really cool. I like that.
So just to give a little backstory on the channel, very short. I'll make it brief. Backstory on the channel. The reason I created it originally was I would try to look for long plays in the past. And don't get me wrong, there's some great players out there. I'm not even going to begin to say that's not true. But what I didn't like was a lot of times the video and audio quality were not what I wanted them to be. So I finally said, well, I'll just do it myself. And that's where it all really started.
That's awesome. Go check out Casual Gamer 4K. Eric's killing it over there. You know, he's got all the crisp quality videos that you could ask for. Hours and hours upon content. So go check that out.
This is technically true.
With all that said, let's go and close out. You can find Aflixionados podcast wherever you normally get your podcasts. New episodes drop on the first Saturday of each month, 5 a.m. Pacific. If you like what you heard, leave us a like, comment, or subscribe, or all of those. Thank you for listening and joining Eric, Michael, and myself, Eric, also named Eric. This has been Aflixionados podcast, episode 53, Casino, and we'll see you all the day after tomorrow.
Bye.
Cheers.